Air France. I've reviewed their business class before on the 777, but today I'll be flying their newest product on the Airbus A350. Last year's review didn't turn out quite as I'd hoped, with a merely passable lounge in Chicago, a decent but not amazing crew, and someone stole the camera with nearly all my footage from the flight. But today, I set to right those wrongs and give Air France the best possible chance to impress. I'll be flying their newest product out of Paris, speaking French with the flight crew, and hey, I actually have all my footage this time. What's it like to fly Air France's business class on the A350? Let's find out on this trip from Paris to Chicago. I'll cut to the chase right here. This flight was excellent. I really enjoyed it and highly recommend it. But if I'm saying that at the top and you know this channel at all, you can guess that I have a few choice words for Air France.
Oh, merde.
So, if you just want to see the flight review itself, click on the timestamp below. I'm warning you, because booking and keeping this reservation was nothing short of a goddamn disaster. And if Megyn Kelly can rant at Air France, so can I. Okay. Air France and KLM's shared loyalty program is called FlyBlue. It's pretty great. All the major credit card points transfer to it, often with bonuses. While the pricing is dynamic, sometimes at absolutely ridiculous levels,
1 million.
In theory, even during the summer, you can fly in business class for only 55,000 miles between Europe and the United States. That's pretty great. What makes it even better are the monthly promo awards, reducing the price by 25 or even 50% for particular cities and routes. I saw 16,500 points in economy and 39,750 points in business class to and from Chicago. That's an absolute steal. I confirmed there was space, transferred the points, and went to book. And I got this error. Now, the Air France website is a buggy mess. Sometimes it just crashes and won't load. Other times you get the spinny wheel of death and can't do another search. Frequent Miler has a post on how to fix this. The calendar search often doesn't match what is actually available. But the error message said to call, so hey, it can't be all that bad now, can it? I see the flight as reserved in my Air France account, so it must just be a simple ticketing issue. So I call. Get put on hold. There's no callback option. I'm on hold for 2 hours.
Please hold the line. Your call will be handled shortly.
Exactly at the 2-hour mark, they hang up on me. Okay, I guess I'll call again.
Please hold the line. Your call will be handled shortly.
50 minutes in, I finally get through to someone, who informs me that because this was a promo award, that I had to use the website, and they couldn't help me. But the website gave me this phone number to call.
When your phone support that you can only call by finding the number, by navigating the website, tells you to go to the website, you done goofed.
I continued to press the issue, asking if there was anyone who could help me book this ticket. The agent then said that this was a FlyBlue issue, and that I should fill out a customer request form on their website, documenting the conversation and providing screenshots as evidence. Fine, okay, that seems rather odd, but I'll play along. I do so. How long did it take FlyBlue to get back to me, you ask? A day? A week? 2 weeks? No, more than a month for any reply. How is that remotely acceptable?
Please note that due to a large number of requests, we are unable to respond to you within a satisfactory time frame.
My whole trip depended on the ability to book this return flight. I finally got an email more than a month later offering to honor the booking at the original price, but that I had 24 hours to reply or else they'd consider the issue closed. I had held off booking for 2 weeks, but now I had all these Air France miles to use. Of course the Saver Award space on that day and airport were long gone. So I tried to book just a 55,000 miles award on a different day and city. No, still got an error, so it's not even an issue of promo award. At a complete impasse, I did something that totally shouldn't have worked at all. I went to go book the same flight on KLM's site. It shouldn't have mattered at all. They're effectively the same airline and share a loyalty program. But for whatever reason, it went through. Hallelujah. So we're done. The ticket is booked. Nothing else went wrong, right?
As long as nothing supernatural happens, this should be easy.
Well, they canceled my Paris to Chicago flight.
What the fuck?
In their infinite wisdom, they moved the flight 2 days earlier. Okay, fine. But they didn't change my connecting flight from Venice to Paris. How the heck was I supposed to board the flight in Paris then? My new itinerary was now multi-city, from Paris to Chicago on one day, then Venice to Paris 2 days later. Yeah, because that makes so much sense. So I called, was on hold for 2 hours,
Please hold the line. Your call will be handled shortly.
and hung up on. Called again.
Please hold the line. Your call will be handled shortly.
About 40 minutes later, I got a hold of someone. She was very nice, but didn't seem that perturbed that my itinerary now made no goddamn sense. She offered to rebook me on a 6 a.m. KLM flight, which is a nightmare in Venice. You basically have to stay at the airport. And we all remember my thoughts on KLM.
Look at it, it's congealed. It's just like a rubber puck.
After going through all the options, I ended up pushing my flight back 2 days. 2 days more in Venice is a terrible tragedy, I know. And I got to fly on the A350 rather than a 787. And that, finally, was that. So I'm sorry, Air France. You failed.
Air France, you failed.
I know I've been a bit long-winded in expressing my feelings, so perhaps my friend the Merovingian here can express my thoughts a bit more succinctly.
Nom de Dieu, de putain de bordel de merde de saloperie de connard d'enculé de ta mère.
So let's finally talk about Air France's A350. Air France didn't even order this plane, but inherited it from the failed airline within an airline concept, Joon. Joon, modeled on the French word for jeune or young, was trying to be a hip airline targeted at millennials when competing against low-cost carriers. Millennials who also happen to have lots of money for business class fares to the Americas and Africa?
What?
I don't know. The concept made no sense, and in just over a year, the airline was scrapped and reabsorbed into Air France.
This effort is no longer profitable.
I deplaned on the Schengen side in Terminal 2F for my flight from Venice, and did the tunnel transit to the K concourse of 2E in about 10 minutes. Air France has debuted 2 new refurbished lounges, one in 2F, the other in 2E Concourse M, but my connection was fairly tight and I didn't want to risk it. The Air France lounge in 2E Concourse K is fine, it just hasn't gotten a remodel yet. There's basic food and drink, but I didn't feel the need to linger. I headed out into the terminal for some shopping, but then saw that my plane was delayed, so headed right back into the lounge, but sat on the other side. There was some discrepancy between the monitors and the app on whether my flight was actually delayed or not, so I spoke with the assistance desk. They were very helpful and actually broke their own no announcements rule and notified me over the PA system when my flight ended up boarding. For the record, I did the whole conversation in French, but I suspect they would have done the same in English. I arrived at the gate, which was one of the remote stand bus gates. Boarding was a bit of a mess as the entire business class cabin was rearranged to accommodate a family of 2 adults and 4 underage children. Fortunately, my seat wasn't changed. But I had one better. Though it didn't appear on my mobile boarding pass, I had been 4S'd yet again, secondary security screening selection. Fortunately, it wasn't as intrusive as the full genitalia pat-down I received in Australia. But now it's happened several times over the past few years. Perhaps it's just because I'm a solo male traveler with a one-way ticket to the US and not my skin shade. It's just too frequent at this point to be a coincidence. I was very confused as to where the bus was actually taking us. The aircraft was parked at Terminal 2E M Concourse, with a perfectly functioning gate. So why are we taking a bus to a totally different terminal? Why couldn't we have just used the gate like normal? Who knows. We left the bus, took a flight of stairs up the jet bridge, and I boarded the one for business class. Immediately upon boarding, my first thought was,
Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic.
we have here the same seats as United Polaris. Sort of. The color scheme really pops in my eyes. Like United, the first thing I noticed was the dirt in the seat. There's 34 seats in a 1-2-1 layout, with odd number seats closest to the aisle and evens closer to the window. The seats are incredibly private, just like the United ones. But there's also a privacy divider you can extend, blocking out the entire cabin. Who needs a door? There's a storage compartment, remote, and universal power and USB. There's armrests on either side, and a magazine in the side pouch. There's controls near the tray, and also by the reading light. Unlike the dimming windows on the 787, this A350 had these really cool automated window shades. Aren't these really fun? I definitely played with them a bit. The entertainment is on a gorgeous large screen that was very responsive. However, it was incredibly reflective, so I'll need to be careful with showing you anything. The movie selection was very extensive, the moving map customizable and responsive, and there was both a downward and tail camera. I was offered champagne and a hot towel as I settled into the seat, and the amenity kit was passed out. It was rather basic, but the eye shades had a very soft, velvety texture. The captain came on the PA system apologizing for the delay, first due to a late arrival from Detroit, and then a further delay because of an air traffic controller strike. Ah, right, Europe and their summer transit strikes. Here in Chicago, we have the Summer of Joy. We pushed back an hour and 10 minutes late, and took off an hour 45 minutes late. Flying time was 8 hours and 25 minutes at 36,000 feet. There was a choice of veal, duck, salmon, or vegetables for the main course. The meal service was rather slow but very personalized. The crew answered any questions about any dish, and offered a very formal wine tasting experience of multiple glasses for those unsure of what to get. Rather than a single tray like United, the meal was properly served in courses. The salad had lettuce and pine nuts, and was served with a very decent baguette. I'm not normally into foie gras, but it was quite good. I was mistakenly served the duck lasagna that looks like this. Before the veal I'd actually ordered. While it sure didn't look that photogenic, it was quite good, and I finished all of it. The cheese course had 3 very different cheeses with typical French pungency, with far more personality than the same course on British Airways. For dessert, there was a selection of 3 small items and a choice of strawberry or coffee sorbet. All were great. I love these smaller desserts on a plane rather than a single heavier item. All in all, I thought the food was great. Perhaps not on the same level as Dough & Co., but was very flavorful and represented French cuisine quite well. Now, I apparently have no taste as an American, but feel free to take my opinion with as much salt as you need. After the meal, I went to recline the seat and take a nap. There's no mattress pad, but with a comfortable pillow and blanket. Just like Polaris seats, the seat is comfortable, though the footwell when fully reclined is a bit tight. While it may not be Air France's issue, I have always been able to sleep on planes across the Atlantic, in any class and in either direction. I had gotten up at 5 a.m. in Venice and had had several glasses of wine, so I wasn't expecting an issue here. Yet for whatever reason, this was the first flight since I can remember that I couldn't sleep on. Perhaps it was the lack of a mattress pad, lack of individual air nozzles, or the seat was a bit on the firm side. Or it was just me having an off day. I tried out the headphones, which weren't all that great, and hurt my Dumbo ears a bit. I went to watch Uncharted, but was first subjected to an ad for Qatar. Yay, desert exploitation! Wi-Fi was available for €8 for an hour, €18 for the whole flight, or €30 for the faster internet. Last year I had a horrible time trying to work off the Wi-Fi, but I wasn't this time, so I didn't bother. Messaging was free, which is always great. We were handed a box of biscuits and chocolates as a snack. The lavatory had a few products, but was otherwise unremarkable. An hour 10 prior to landing, the second meal was served. It was cold, with a quinoa salad with mango, zucchini and cheese tart, and a financier. It was good, but not all that memorable. I need to highlight the crew here. They were simply phenomenal. While the business class cabin was completely full, they were incredibly attentive, personable, and took the time to make everyone feel welcome. In my last review, the cabin was empty, yet I still felt abandoned, and hypothesized that passengers speaking French got better service. Here I was speaking French, but I needn't have bothered. In both languages, the crew really knocked it out of the park. We flew over Canada, then northern Michigan, before Lake Michigan with Chicago on the horizon. The view of the city on landing was flawless on this beautiful summer day. So was this flight worth the incredible hassle of trying to book an award ticket? Absolutely. Let's consider the competition I've recovered before. Lufthansa? Yes. British Airways? Yes. United? Even though the seat is the same, I have to give it to Air France on food, service, and the novelty of the A350, though the United Lounge is better. Air Canada? Wins on food and service. KLM? Definitely. I'd really have to put this up there with SAS, and only slightly below Turkish on the 787. And for fewer airline miles than nearly all the others, and a hell of a lot less money than British Airways. It's an incredibly good option. And even if you don't use airline miles, several of the passengers had paid €390 to upgrade to business class at check-in. Honestly, I think that might be worth it for such a wonderful experience. Unfortunately, the wonderful experience ended upon leaving the aircraft, as it took 3 hours and 40 minutes to clear US Immigration and Customs. Perhaps I'll finally give in for global entry. So Air France business class on the A350. It truly was pretty great, just don't check any bags.
Not a single one of our 5 bags appeared. Not one!
Thanks for watching this review, and click here to see the rest of the playlist of this epic summer trip. If you like this video, click that button and please subscribe for many more flight reviews to come. I'll see you on the next one.